Hi, I'm Mike Sutter, and this is the first edition of 202 TV, produced by the students of Lena Winslow High School for the school and community. Before we get to our program, here are a few announcements. There will be a mandatory meeting for all winter sports players on Monday, November 7th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. in the high school gym. Attendance by at least one parent is required before any athlete will be allowed to participate. The purpose of this meeting is for parents to meet coaches, hear expectations, ask questions, and encourage open communication. Winter sports are boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling, and cheerleading. If you have any questions, contact Tom Smrad Jesse at 291-5362. A special night is coming up for all Lee Win High School students, faculty, family, and friends. The Lee Win boys basketball team will play Galeen at the United Center in Chicago on Saturday, January 21st at noon. Our game will precede the Bulls-Sacramento Kings game. Tickets are $50. For more information, contact Coach Kyle Benson at the high school by Friday, December 9th. If you haven't registered to vote yet and want to vote in this year's presidential election, you have until October 23rd. Election Day is November 8th.
One good thing about our school district is that when teachers come here, they stay for a very long time. But every now and then, someone new joins the family. We sat down recently with two of our new teachers, Zach Massemeyer and Lucas Mays, to learn a little bit about them and get their thoughts on their new jobs.
Some of my best high school memories were with Showtime, which was our show choir that we did in Freeport, and we got to perform on stage, and then we would always travel during our spring break, and we would go to different schools. We would unload a truck. It was basically like, touring. We called it tour, and whenever we went on tour, we'd go to different schools and then perform a show for a school or a school district, and we got to communicate with people of all ages, teachers, because we would go do fun things in the audience with everybody, and it was always a lot of fun. And a good memory from that is when we went to Canada, and we got to go across the border, and we got to perform in Canada, and then we exchanged a flag. It was pretty cool. But a lot of my memories come from Showtime when I was in Freeport. I teach instrumental music, and here I teach 6th through 12th grade band. And my motivation for doing what I do, I've wanted to do it basically my entire life. I wanted to do this since I was in 4th grade. My dad is a junior high, middle school band teacher, and I was always involved, and I saw what he did, and he would bring instruments home, and music was always a part of my life, and I think it is important that students continue to play instruments and be involved in music education, and because that, I think, channels a part of who you are, and it helps have another emotional outlet, especially in a world that seems to lack the outlets that we need currently. So I think music is a good way to hit upon that point. Teaching methods always fluctuate, I think. As an educator, especially a beginning young one, I think I have to continually learn in order to have the best effective teaching methods, because things are always changing. Students are changing. You have to kind of keep up with what the 21st century is bringing. And I think that some days you have to be old school, some days you have to try and experiment, and some days you have to just go completely outside the box, and what someone might think is crazy, you just have to go do it and roll with it. But teaching methods are always changing, but the most important thing is that I am educating a student, and they are learning something about the world and something about themselves and something about the skills that they are acquiring. Thank you.
Well, I was born in the town of Normal. It's about 2.5 hours south of here. And I also went to the college that's located there, which is Illinois State University. I kind of went to school all over that place because I also had high school on the campus and elementary school because they ran their own schools there for teachers. I teach social studies, in particular United States history, pre and post, because I do 7th and 8th grade. And I was motivated to teach social studies because I've always really liked history and I've liked the idea of sharing stories, and teaching just seemed like the best way to kind of do that. I could share awesome stories about the past with students. What's been my favorite high school memory? That is a tough one, but I would have to probably say my senior year that I did marching band. We went to the Illinois State Marching Band competition where they had bands from all over the state. It lasted all day long, and it was the first time in my high school career that our school's marching band had placed in the finals, so that was really cool. I really like it here at Lee Win. I at first didn't know what to expect because I'd never been to a school this small before, but the small, tight-knit feel is really awesome, and I've had a lot of good experiences with the students so far. I think everyone here is really awesome. Here at Lee Win, I like to teach students using more interactive teaching methods, so kind of doing group work or activities where students might read, say, a primary source or read a document from history and then talk about it, or trying to turn them into more interesting activities. Like just a couple days ago, we did in my pre-US History Social Studies class a game where students had to see if they could survive Jamestown based on the decisions they made. So just kind of ways to get students more involved. And that is about how they taught us when I was in high school and elementary school, more interactive, hands-on sort of stuff.
We visited the FFA organization's website, and here's the goal. Students whose lives are impacted by FFA in agricultural education gain academic and personal growth, help strengthen the local communities, and provide leadership to build a strong nation and sustainable world. Let's see what our Lena Winslow's FFA is up to.
I'm from Winnebago. I never thought I would end up living here in Northern Illinois as adults. My dream was always to go someplace else, but ended up being here anyway, and actually ended up being pretty glad about it. My favorite high school memory was probably going on a field trip with the French class because we went to an art museum. I had never been to an art museum. I thought it would be pretty boring, but actually I had a lot of fun. I teach agriculture, and I teach it because I think it's the best subject out there. I think it's very practical, it's very hands-on. I'm motivated because I see that there is a lack of ag education in the public in general, that there's too many people who are far, far removed from the farm, that they don't know where their food or clothing comes from. And I think that everybody should have a basic knowledge, because if they're deciding with the voting booth on laws that govern our agriculture industry, they should know what they're talking about. Teaching experience has been great. There's always great kids every year, and I always think to myself when the seniors graduate, I'm like, man, that was a great group of kids. I'll never see a group like that again. And then, gosh, they make me another group of freshmen that come along and make me another group of seniors that come along. So I never run out of good kids. It's great. I'd say the teaching method I use is kind of varied. If it's a classroom-based course, like say animal science or horticulture or wildlife, and we do a lot of in-classroom things where you're doing lectures, you're doing some hands-on labs in there. And then we're doing welding or construction, it's all hands-on. I prefer to learn hands-on myself, so I try to make as many activities so the kids aren't just sitting there listening, that they can do something themselves as well.
FFA isn't just an agricultural organization, it's more than that. It's like a family full of people that have taught me so many different things, how to communicate better, and has prepared me more than just for high school. It has prepared me for college and even life.
Every school has varsity athletics such as baseball, volleyball, and football. But not every school has an academic bowl program. This is where students compete in a battle of the wits and often show skills that they might not be able to show anywhere else. We asked Mrs. Stevens how the program has evolved ever since she decided to become its head coach.
I have been coaching Scholastic Bowl now for 10 years. It was pretty funny how I started. One day it was in the middle of summer, and Mr. Todd, former principal of the school, sent out an email to all faculty in the high school and said, hey, is anyone interested in being the Scholastic Bowl coach? So I replied to the email and said, yeah, I may be interested. What is it? And then I got an email back, you're hired. So I got the job as a Scholastic Bowl coach not knowing anything about it. And so I had to learn quickly. So our first year was a little rough, but I've learned a lot, and we have a really great team and a great tradition going here at Lee Win now. Student involvement has really increased now that the junior high also has a Scholastic Bowl teams. So usually we get a lot of teams, a lot of freshmen coming in, and they really want to do it. Problem is they're involved with baseball, basketball, and wrestling, so we kind of lose some. But then so freshman year, we start out strong, and then it kind of dwindles. But then by the time seniors come back, I have many seniors that have like started Scholastic Bowl as a freshman and sophomore, and then they come back as a senior going, I really missed it. I want to keep going. And so it kind of is increasing because of the help from the junior high, and just it's a fun thing to do. It really is. We have a lot of fun. By students joining us, we learn a lot of other things that are not here at the school, such as art. We learn a lot about arts, portraits, who's painted them, famous artists. We learn a lot about musicians, because part of Scholastic Bowl is some of the questions are you have to know the composers of certain movements and music movements. We just learn a lot of skills when it comes to working as a team, because part of the questions that we have are teamwork questions, where they work together to come up with a solution to a problem. So learning some things that we don't necessarily talk a lot about here during the regular day, and working with the team. I am extremely hopeful about the upcoming year. This year we have 2 returning seniors who last year when I took them, and only them, to the Winnebago tournament, they did extremely well. I was supposed to bring 5 people, I only had 2, Alec and Lucas, and they did really well at the tournament, and I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. And they're back this year. And then we have some sophomores that are moving up to the varsity, some juniors, last year's sophomores, who are moving up to the varsity level. So we're gonna have a very strong, rounded team in with Asa Lake and John Yurkovic and Sam Gobley and Evan Vorwald. And we have some seniors that are coming back as well, so it'll be a good year. The topics that are covered in a Scholastic Bowl meet include your math, your science, your American literature, your English, grammar, things that you normally see in school. But some of the other topics that are not generally taught in the classroom are current events, current geography. We do a lot with geography. We have battles. We have to know battles from world history. We also have to know pop music, like current music. They bring up questions, about Lady Gaga sometimes, or they bring up questions about Mario Kart. Well, I probably just dated myself with that anyway. But they probably bring up questions about Mario Kart and current games that are out there, things that are not generally part of the general curriculum as well. So music, art, pop culture, movie stars, theater, all kinds of things. Are there scholarships to get you to college? No, none that I have seen. We do participate in the Masonic Bowl tournament, which is, if we do well at that tournament, we do get a scholarship money. And generally, if we get in the top 4, we do get money from that tournament. And then I use some of the money, like part of the money to pay for lunches, pay for a team dinner, and then the rest of the money is distributed to seniors who have been on the team for 4 years as a scholarship at awards night.
High school can be a lot of fun for everybody. One of the things that makes high school more fun is our homecoming week.
This year's theme is cities around the U.S. Honolulu will be the city of the seniors. The juniors have Las Vegas, the sophomores will go to Hollywood, and the freshmen will proudly represent the country music capital of the world, Nashville. Dress-up days are always a fun part of homecoming. There's no school on Monday, October 10th, but on Tuesday, it's Tourist Day. On Wednesday, it's Dress Up as Your City Day. On Thursday, it's Opposite Sex Day. And on Friday, students will show their pride with Black and Gold Day. The homecoming parade will be Wednesday, October 12th at 2:15 p.m. The parade will start at Lions Park, go through town, and end at the high school. The Ironman volleyball game will be on Wednesday, October 12th at 6:30 p.m. in the high school gym, which will be followed by the bonfire in the high school parking lot. The pep rally will be Friday at 2:30 in the high school gym, and finally the homecoming king and queen will be crowned between the JV and varsity football games on Friday night. The dance is on Saturday from 8 to 11 p.m. in the high school gym.
This has been the first edition of 202 TV. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget Dollar Donuts on every Thursday.